Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's BC, and thanks for tuning in to Alloy 7. Now that we're a good bit past the halfway point in 2015, I thought this would be a good time to update my How to Monetize Your Gaming Channel tutorial series that I've been working on for the last several years. The good news is that there really hasn't been a lot of news in 2015, and the reason why that's good is because in 2014, YouTube made a major policy shift as it relates to uploading videos that have video game content in them. If you're not familiar with or haven't seen the 2014 update video that I did, I'll have a card somewhere above me, I don't know which side of the screen it'll be on, that will let you get access to that update to fill you in with the details of the policy change. The short version of the story is YouTube moved away from requiring the little guys like us from having to prove that we had permission to upload the videos that we were uploading. Again, as long as they were within YouTube policy and adhered to fair use exceptions to copyright law. Back in the day, you had to prove that you had permission. So I went on a crusade, basically, of reaching out to copyright owners to get that permission and publish it on my website for all of you to have access to it. YouTube basically squashed most of that and said, okay, if you don't have permission, you can still do this as long as your video meets these standards, which is really awesome. I think it was a move in the right direction. And now that YouTube is getting ready to have its own gaming space, I don't know all of the details of that yet, but I think it's going to be really good for us as YouTube realizes that gaming is a huge portion of their revenue stream. So it's in their best interest to support us. Now, some of the news that did come out this year, I also did another video on the Microsoft policy update, which was huge for guys like me because there were a ton of Microsoft games that I wanted to do review fors and let's plays for rather. And I never could because Microsoft's policy was flat out. You cannot upload videos and monetize them. And on principle, I didn't think it was right that Microsoft could come along and monetize our work if we weren't allowed to monetize the work that we created that made that work transformative. Microsoft has updated that policy. I won't bore you with all the details here because there's a lot of them. Again, I'll have a card somewhere up here above me that you can click on to learn about Microsoft's policy update. The only challenge there is that there's all of these stipulations that you have to follow to do a Microsoft video. Not impossible, just a little bit more tedious than some of the other companies who are more open with it. The real good news with the Microsoft update, something that I was really terrified by because I was starting to make a lot of Minecraft videos, was when Minecraft was acquired by Microsoft. The great news, another part of the update here, is that Microsoft basically said, we're not going to change the policy that Mojang had in place, which Mojang's only rule was you had to make the work transformative. You had to take your Minecraft video and add something of value to it. And they go as far as to allow C14, the person who produced the Minecraft soundtrack, if you're making Minecraft videos, you're actually allowed to use his music in the videos, again, as long as it adheres to Mojang policy, which I thought was really cool on his part because obviously he still retains the copyrights to his music, and Minecraft has some of the most awesome music in video games, at least in this guy's opinion. And the rest of the good news is that Microsoft and these other companies making that move have really encouraged other copyright owners in the video game space to follow suit. Not just giving us permission when we ask for it, but also publishing that permission online the way that I had been asking them, and many of us had been asking them to for several years now. So video games are starting to get it. They're starting to understand that we as YouTube are a huge proponent and a huge part of them being able to make the revenue they need to make to sustain their companies and to bring us better and better games in the future. So that's all goodness. So with all the good news out of the way, I want to take an opportunity in this video to warn you about adhering to YouTube's community guidelines. We spend so much time talking about the copyright issues and YouTube policy. The other thing you need to be very careful about is YouTube has really started to crack down on the community guidelines. It'll be on screen while I'm talking. You can see what I'm talking about. And I'll have a link to that in the video description, which I highly recommend you go and read every word of it. Because YouTube's starting to crack down on videos that they believe don't adhere to community guidelines. And what makes the YouTube community guidelines part challenging is that if YouTube believes you're not adhering to them, they can do everything from send you a warning to remove your videos from YouTube, which is what's been happening to me, to put your channel in jeopardy. So I really highly suggest you go and read that website. Make sure, I have literally gone through almost 700 of my videos and checked them to make sure that they adhere to the community guidelines, because I had upwards of about 20 videos get removed 20 videos that I believe follow the community guidelines, but for whatever reason, YouTube had an issue with them. I've submitted appeals and I've got my network involved, but I will say that in going through my inventory, I had 2 videos that actually were in conflict with the community guidelines. Unbeknownst to me, until I read them specifically, I didn't even realize the thing that was in these videos was an issue. And I'm going to make another video specifically about this where I go into a lot more detail, so stay tuned for that. Bottom line is, stay up to date with community guidelines and YouTube policy, because they're starting to get more and more strict as they get bigger and bigger and start making more and more money. They're more at risk for legal implications. So take a look at your channel, make sure that everything you're doing is kosher so that you don't get into my situation where you start having videos, even though you think you're doing the right thing, you start having videos get removed. Again, I'm going to do another video specifically about community guidelines and what I've been experiencing. So don't worry about not having all the details here. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end here. I'm going to encourage everyone to join the mailing list at alloy7.com. I'll have a link in the video description below. The reason you want to do that is because I'm starting to send out weekly updates of all the work that I'm doing here, where it's consolidated, it's concise, and it's in one place where you don't have to be watching the subscriber box to see if my new tips video has come out or another review or a let's play or anything else that I'm working on. You can use that email as kind of a reference to look at the stuff that we do here when you get around to it, when you have time. And it's right there in your inbox. You don't have to worry about coming on YouTube to check for updates. Also, as always, if you dug this video, if you found it helpful, please share it with a friend that you think can find it useful as well. And also think about supporting us on Patreon, throwing us a bone if you have it to spend to help us keep the lights on here at Alloy 7. And as always, if you're not a subscriber here at Alloy 7, allow me to encourage you to become a subscriber. We believe in building a stronger gaming community, and we believe that you are an integral part of us being able to do that. So until next time, until all are one, allow me to bid you a fond adieu. Let me tell you that it's a pleasure to come and serve you, and I'll see you next week.